You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm my friendship. Oh, how
you know what time it is. Roll with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the uttermost to the public housing. If we don't play, our wide receivers got your secondary shook, so they cook them like Bobby Flay. Hey, stay out of my way and trust me, cause I know it's a wait. Somebody please give this brother.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk about college football with real fans. I'm Devin. That's Mello. And boy, do we have some stuff to talk about tonight, chat. We appreciate you guys showing up. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Check us out on our Buckeye Boys channel over there. Mello, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you good.
All right, cool. Man, it was a tough day, man. We had a great boom at noon, and then we had a minor setback around 2:00 this afternoon. So I saw you and Funky did a show about it, and I thought you guys did a fantastic job. What's your thoughts?
Well, here's the thing, man. It could be, you could consider it a minor setback. Some people could classify it as a blessing in disguise, right? Because we know that the number one priority at Ohio State, and listen, you guys can get sick of hearing this all you want. You can call it an excuse all you want. It's a fact. Like, it's just the truth, man, that Ryan Day values raising these young men the correct way. I mean, he just had an interview about what's it feel like to win a natty. And he was like, well, I'm proud of the players and stuff. And yeah, that's part of my goal, but that's not the overall goal here. If that was the overall goal, he would just hang it up and move on, right? Goal accomplished. That's not the goal here. And, you know, not that I'm condemning Luke Wafel for that decision that he made or anything, but let's just call it what it is. He chose, more money, right, to go to a school that is ranked in the hundreds and close to it every year defensively. And I'm not, when you compare Ohio State developmental and where we're at as a program, head coach, Larry Johnson to, they have some good coaches over there, but it's not comparable. We're not on the same wavelength there. So, there's a select few, man. And to be honest with you, the list is getting smaller every single year of recruits that kind of fit that Ohio State mold. And we're seeing it more and more, every single year. So, we'll see. We're still in there on a lot of defensive end prospects, which we're about to go over in this show. We're in on some defensive tackle prospects. I get upset in the moment because he's an amazing football player, good dude. But again, I wait till the end of the class before I start really diving into, oh my gosh, this was a huge hit, because the recruiting class isn't made up of one recruit, right? A football team isn't made up of one football player. It's a whole, it's a collective. Okay. So then here at Ohio State, there's never going to be one player. There's never going to be one recruit that really derails our season or derails our hope for winning a national title. It's just not going to happen. We're the Block O. This is Ohio State, man. And the reason why that is because of the type of players that we recruit here, hence last year's Natty run. How many star players did we lose last year? We still won a national title because the men sitting behind them are men that have been grinding it out the whole time. They got to fight for their way. They got to fight and grind from the bottom all the way up. And that's what makes you tough out those moments when things aren't going smooth. So sorry about the rant, Mello, but hopefully I answered your question, man.
Yeah. I mean, I saw someone put in the chat asking about Tyler Atkinson. I'll just address it real quick and leave it at that. So with Tyler, we were in the lead. If it was just strictly football and other things weren't involved, I believe he would be in Columbus, but I do not expect him to be in Columbus. You guys know I'm a huge Tyler Atkinson fan. I have not seen a kid that could play linebacker like him in person in my entire life. So, and I'm 40, but there's certain things that you can't demand. Ohio State's just not going to do it for anybody. Not anybody living, not anybody coming, not anybody in the past. If Peyton Manning was in his prime and wanted to come to Ohio State, but was asking for the same stuff that Tyler was asking Ohio State to do for him, Ohio State would tell him kick rocks. I mean, it's really that crazy and outlandish of an ask that he wanted from Ohio State. And if Ohio State would have done it, it would have changed the culture completely. It would have changed future recruiting completely. And yes, we would have had Tyler Atkinson for 3 years, maybe win 2 more natties, but then we would have had a setback for a numerous amount of years because it would have reset the market for players coming to Ohio State. And even from a legal standpoint, it just made zero sense. The block goal, like Dev just said, is bigger than any one player. The one thing I didn't like about what Tyler Atkinson said, whatever, it's fine that you want to do that from your business standpoint. That's cool. But when you're talking to Alex Gleitman and you're saying Ohio State doesn't want to be number one, like, what are you smoking? We just won the Natty. We are number one. This is the most bulletproof program in the history of college football. Let's call a spade a spade. This is the best and most consistent program in college football history. I'm 40 years old. Long before I was born, this program was elite. Long after I'm gone and long after Tyler Atkinson is done playing football altogether, long after his kids are done playing football or whatever they do, it's still going to be an elite program. So you running your mouth talking about they don't want to be number one, you're out of your mind. And yes, you're phenomenal, but the block O supersedes any one player. And that's all I got to say. So Tyler will not be here. I believe is UGA or Texas. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up going to Texas because I believe Texas is going to meet everything that he's demanding.
Yeah. Forgive me for my random swats in the air, man. I got really annoying. A couple gnats been flying around me here, and don't judge me on my cleanliness, man. I promise you I keep things clean. You know, every once in a while, gnat gets in, bro. It's just what happens, dude. But, you know, on the Tyler Atkinson thing, you know, man, I'm real careful about how I don't want to cast judgment among people, but when you speak words like, I guess Ohio State doesn't want to be number one, man, that kind of shows you the type of mentality. You know, you have to have a certain mentality to have those thoughts in your mind that you as a high school senior, never played a down of college football, think that you're going to determine whether a whole team is number one or not. Man, you got to be in some type of position there. But I want to start off the show, man. I'm going to go down through something for you, right? I'm going to do this nice and slow just so people make sure they hear everything that I'm saying here. Chris Henry, the number 15 player in the nation. Blaine Bradford, the number 26 player in the entire nation. Caden Dixon-Wyatt, the number 59 player in the nation. Sincere Johnson, the number 71 player in the nation. Maxwell Riley, the number 89 player in the nation. So how many top 100 players is that in the nation? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. The number 106 player in the nation, Simeon Caldwell. The number 128 player in the nation, Jordan Thomas. The number 109th player in the nation, Sam Greer. The number 173rd player in the nation, Jacob Weatherspoon. The number 245 player in the nation, Jaden Ricketts. The number 241, Kari Wilder, and the number 167, Favor Akey. Well, we also have Corbin Fordham, CJ Sana, Brock Boyd, and Tucker Smith. We have an average recruiting ranking of 93 point something with 16 commits. That is number 2, only behind LSU with an average recruiting ranking of 94, and they only have 10 players committed. So I say all that. Freaking gnat just flew in my drink, man. Oh, my God. Dude, gnats are so annoying. I say all that to say, man, we are blessed, okay? This is Ohio State. We've said it over and over again. We'll continue to say it, man. You know, as long as you're up there at the top of your list and, like, where your class lands in the recruiting rankings, you're consistent with that, like Ryan Day and Ohio State has been with these top 5 classes, left and right. you're going to be good, man. You're going to have an opportunity to win a national title. So, Mello, you got anything to add about the current commitments that we have now? And there are several of those players that are severely underranked or misranked. Kari Wilder, Tucker Smith, Jordan Thomas, even Brock Boyd for sure. So there's a lot of them.
Man, our class is phenomenal. We're in a great position. It's just going to get better. Yeah, we missed on some recruits. It's going to happen in this type of atmosphere in terms of recruiting right now. We're not going to hit everybody. Everything's not equal anymore. Some teams are desperate and willing to just throw money at a problem and try to solve it. But the honest thing is, you still got to play the game before those kids get there, so kids can see it and be like, I don't like that plan anymore. So that's always a factor. Also, talking about underrated, Chris Henry is severely underrated. People don't realize Chris Henry, before he got injured, was the number one player in this class, regardless of position, and the number one wide receiver. So expect him to rise up the rankings after his senior season. Expect Caden Dixon-Wyatt to rise up the rankings, because I don't know too many high school teams that will be able to guard both of those guys and Mark Bowen all at the same time. And they have an elite running back in the backfield. I forget his name, though. So expect those rankings to go up. Expect Kari Wilder's ranking to go up, at, like Dev just said. I believe this class is going to be elite. It's still going to be elite. I expect the top 3 class by the end of signing day. And just let's see what happens. Let's see if USC can keep all those commits after July 1st. It's going to be a very interesting time for them to be dealing with the new revenue sharing model and trying to win games in the Big Ten at the same time. So I'm very interested to see how that's going to go.
Yeah, for sure. And before we dive into defensive line recruiting in particular, I want to go over something, man. Here on the Buckeye Boys, we are not fans of Con 3, Steve Wilfong, and everything that he does over there. Not him as a person. I don't know him as a person. I'm sure he's a great guy, whatnot, but I don't like the way that they conduct business over there. Prime example, Luke Wafel, he put an expert prediction in for him to USC, okay, 24 hours ago. He switched it to Ohio State. And then about 4 hours before his recruitment, he switched it back to USC. So I'm not a big fan of that, man. I don't understand, how you can do that. I think there should be a rule, like 48 hours before someone's announcement, you're not allowed to change and switch those up. But, man, we can keep hating them on all we want. Recruits still use them. Recruits still give them their let Hayes Fawcett make their graphic and all that stuff. And the same things just keep on happening. But let's go with defensive end. We're going to break down the defensive end recruiting a little bit at Ohio State, obviously, because we just lost Luke Wafel to USC for $1.3 million a year, about $500,000 more dollars than Ohio State was offering. And everybody's freaking out because he was Ohio State's number 1 target at the defensive end position. We have Kari Wilder committed right now. My Buckeye Boys breakdown of him is he is a 5-star defensive line player. The dude is elite. That's my opinion on that. But he's about, 6'4", 260. So he's a bit of a tweener, kind of going all over the line, really. So I don't necessarily put him strictly in the defensive end category, but he's a big pickup for the defensive end. So let's break down the defensive ends that we are in on that are not committed somewhere right now. We got Jake Krull. He's been here on an official visit. He's 6'3", 230, kind of smaller, man. Ohio State, I'm not sure they really feel that he's going to end up playing on the line of scrimmage in college football, but he was very impressed with the Ohio State official visit. We interviewed him here on this channel. Great young kid, man. Got a good head on his shoulders. A lot of people will try to negate that, talk about how he loves Instagram and all that. The dude still loves football, and he's about his business. We got Jackson Ford from Pennsylvania, I believe, just coming off his official visit, 6'4", 240, kind of that tweener type again, not really a true defensive end. Ohio State's recruiting him as kind of that outside linebacker end position, 6'4", 240. the number 15 defensive end ranked in the nation. Then we got Carter Meadows was there as well. He's 6'6", 225, the number 34 player nationally, the number 5 defensive end. He's 6'6", 225. He is your prototypical defensive end, man, and he is who Ohio State's fans are turning their attention to, rightfully so. My opinion, he's got a higher ceiling than Luke Wafel, but he is not where Luke Wafel is now. Luke Wafel could come in and probably contribute as a freshman, physically ready anyway. I don't know about where it'd be mentally on the field, but what I'm hearing now after losing Luke Wafel is something you would expect to hear, and it's that they've turned their attention to Carter Meadows, and they are prepared to do what's needed in that recruitment. But we'll see. Landon Barnes and KJ Ford from Duncanville, new one added to the list. He was supposed to go to USC this weekend. Obviously, Wafel committed there. Now he's changed his official visit to Ohio State. I think this dude's a baller, man. Ohio State started their conversation with him early in the recruitment. He's 6'4", 245. He's the number 98th player nationally, the number 11th defensive end. So we got some ground to make up there, but we'll see if the Buckeyes can do it. Mello, anything to add?
No, I think you hit it all on the head. And if you look at the size of these guys, right, this is what I'm thinking about as you're listening to size: 6'4", 240, 6'4", 260, 6'4", right, about that range. So I feel like maybe half those guys end up as DNs if they commit to the class. Obviously, Meadows automatically be a DN. He'll be pressing to be in the 2 deep immediately. But what it makes me think about is, what if they're switching the formation? So they're going to start recruiting a little differently because of Matt Patricia is very versatile, right? So maybe they could switch the formation and change how we use the D-line. So that way it's not as much of a factor, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And I think there's definitely something to that. I want to answer this real fast, and I'm going to dive into that a little more. What are you talking about? Wilder is 12 pounds heavier than Jack Sawyer when he was committed. Yeah, I know. I'm talking about how Ohio State is recruiting him. Ohio State's not recruiting him just for the defensive end. They're recruiting him all over the defensive line, and he has the body type to put on way more weight than that, is my point behind that. So if they want to keep him at defensive end, he can keep his weight down. That's what's going to happen. I don't care where you put him at on the defensive line. He's an absolute animal. But Mello, in terms of what you said, man, we're privileged to have some conversations with some parents of some of these players that go to Ohio State. And matter of fact, today I had a very interesting conversation with somebody at Ohio State kind of about that, man, about what's going on there in the defensive scheme and how things are going to be played out, man. And I will tell you that there's a lot of players that us Buckeye fans think are DNs and DNs only that are currently being trained a little bit differently than that. And I think Matt Patricia has a big time role in that. And the fact that out of all the positions on the field, defensive tackle is maybe where we have the least depth at. So he can overcome that with scheme, putting players in different situations. So you never know, man. The more I hear, the more and the more that, I talk to people, the more I think Matt Patricia's planning to stay here for a minute, man. He is. I just don't think he's planning on leaving. I think he's having a heck of a time, and his communication with these recruits is not a hey, I'm a one and done type of communication. It's no, you come here and I'll see you through this journey. So that's what I'm hearing right now. I'm pretty excited about that, man. Very excited about it, actually.
From the people I'm talking to as well, that he's telling kids that I'm going to be here until you get to the NFL. So that's at least minimum 3 years, maybe 4, right? So he's enjoying Columbus. You guys are showing him a lot of love out there. Keep showing him that love. He's enjoying recruiting. He's enjoying just being around young men and developing them and being able to put his whole footprint and finger stamp on this defense that's going to be elite once again. So, Matt Patricia is a blessing for Ohio State, to be honest with you. I don't know Ryan Day's process or how he goes about hiring these coaches, but he's an elite evaluator of coaches and their talent. Like, we just have to be honest. To me, that, in my opinion, I know people will say Kirby Smart, and I won't sit here and argue with you, but to me, Ryan Day is the best college coach in America, because it's not just the wins, which he's doing at a higher percentage than any active coach right now. He has the natty, right? He has the factor of this program was the only program with Harvard in terms of perfect academic success. He's graduating kids. Kids are not getting in trouble. They're doing revivals on campus and in the community. They're doing community service and helping build up the community and players and people around Columbus. So to me, it's about being a CEO of a program. And to me, there's no better CEO. I don't even think that's debatable, in my opinion. The only thing people could say is Kirby went back to back. Okay, he went back to back. That's cool. But his players are crashing cars. They're driving drunk, driving down one ways, getting arrested. And, I mean, they lost in the first round of the playoffs last year to Notre Dame. So there's that as well. So, I mean, to me, ask yourself this, and I want you to answer this as well, Dev. If right now the choice was I'm going to take Kirby Smart or I'm going to take Ryan Day and to lead my program, who would you take and why?
I mean, I'm picking Ryan Day. I mean, obviously, because of how he operates, the morals and the ethics and the character and his beliefs, and just kind of how he operates and how he focuses on a lot of other areas of these young men's life. But I have a strong pull towards that because of my background and whatnot. But I love the way he operates, and he's managed to find a way to do that plus win national titles. And I'm not sure what else you could ask for. I mean, as a parent, right, when you're looking at these schools, like, what else do you want? You go to a school that has the best academics, that's winning national titles. There's no trouble going on there. And if your son does what he's told to do, he's going to go to the NFL. Like, there's no other school in the nation that has none. There's not a single other school in the nation that can say those things, right? I mean, we're academically right above Harvard at this point as far as athletes go and their, the schoolwork stuff. So, I mean, dude, I'm picking Ryan Day all day long. So, yeah, I wanted to move on. Mel, you got something else to say to that before we move on to the defensive
No,
tackles?
the only knock you could put on Ryan Day is he has to beat the team up north, and that's just a fact. And I believe it's going to start this year. I believe the stress is off Ryan Day. Even if you look at him in his press conference, he looks like a completely different dude than he did for the previous 3 to 4 years. And you can see all that stress and weight is off of him. He looks relaxed. He looks confident. And I think we're going to see a whole different type of coaching style. I think Ryan Day's on I know what it takes to win now, and we're going to do it. So that's the last thing he has to get off his back. And I think that happens this year.
And Mello, it's kind of crazy, right? Not really crazy. I get why, but it's just like when you about that specific subject right there, and Ryan Day beating his rival.
Yeah.
Number one, he's already done it, right? 2019,
right.
He beat him. Okay. 2020, they ducked us. Yep. 21, 22, and 23, they were cheating. Okay. So if you believe that and all those things, which it's a fact, it happened, then you kind of look at that. 2019, he beat him. The rest of the times, it's kind of like really up in the air. And last year, he lost. So let's say, all right, he just lost his first game, right?
Yeah.
To our rival. In the same year he did that, he went and won a national title. So, but I get how people's minds can kind of connect to, hey, we've seen them lose on the field 4 different times. Well, 3 of those, they cheated. The biggest cheating scam, right, in college football history. I mean, they knew our plays before we played them. 23, maybe a little less, but still, even if it's 1%, it was an unfair advantage. I don't really give a dang. The confidence they build up over that time, the recruits they had, all of it stemmed off the cheating. So for me, I don't hold those losses against Ryan Day, 21, 22, or 23. I just don't. I can't. I can't be one way in my life and pick and choose if I want to be that way or not. Cheating's cheating. I'm not going to hold it against him. Last year, oh my God, dude, that was wild. But just an interesting thought for people, right? Because I think this national perspective and national stuff is like the national media and some other media people, they want to talk about how bad Scum cheated. And then they want to turn around and talk about how long it's been since Ryan Day beat his rival. And it's just like, can you do that? Is that okay to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just got done talking about how this is the biggest cheating scandal in the nation. Now you're turning around and talking about how Ryan Day can't beat his rival, even though 3 out of the past 4 years they cheated, right? I can have a conversation with you about last year, but it's just like weird how people like pick and choose when they want to bring things up to kind of make their point. And I do that too sometimes. When I want to talk about a recruit, sometimes I'll go pick the highest ranking that he has, and I'll talk about that. But
Yeah.
hey, man, is what it is. But let's dive into these defensive tackles. Here we go. Cameron Brickle, 6'2", 305. Emmanuel Ruffin, 6'4", 290. To back up to Cameron Brickle, everybody thinks he's going to be a Buckeye. Okay, so people are counting him in this class. Emmanuel Ruffin, number 117 player nationally. He came for an official visit. Don't really have a lot of intel there. Got to be a really tough pool, but he is an elite defensive lineman. Jameer Perez, we all know about him. 6'4", 250 now. He's a Buckeye. PJ Dean, we know about him. D tackle, whatever there. We'll see what happens there. In a good place there. Damari Simeon, 6'3", 275, doesn't get a lot of attention, coming for an official visit this upcoming weekend. The Buckeyes like him a lot more than anybody's reporting. Damari Simeon is very high on the Buckeyes list, and they really like where they stand. And Deuce Gerald's 6'2", 265, the number 73 player in the nation. By the way, Damari Simeon, he's a top 100 player in the nation on some recruiting sites, just to let people know. And Deuce Gerald's the number 9 defensive lineman in the nation, coming on an official visit this weekend. I mean, so you got Cameron Brickle, Jameer Perez, PJ Dean, Damari Simeon, and Deuce Gerald that the Buckeyes have a shot at landing. And at least 3, I'm very confident that we're landing 3 of those players. It's going to happen. So, Mello, what's your thoughts?
I think we're going to have a great defensive tackle class. I want to share this, and I haven't talked to you about this yet, but it's kind of weird. I feel like Deuce Gerald's, I could pretty much say almost a lock for the class, but I did see something interesting that he just posted today. He posted his official when he went to the team up north, like the photo shoot and all that. And I'm wondering, is he trying to, with the timing of right before his visit, is he trying to send a message to like Ohio State, make sure that NIL package is right? Or is he just a kid just having fun? I really don't know. I haven't interacted with him. I just know his high school is a huge Buckeye high school, and everyone gives him all types of crap for taking that OV in the first place. So that's interesting. But I do still feel like he's going to be in the class. He's elite, super elite. I think he's actually underrated, to be honest with you. And then Jameer Perez, man, a true one tech. He's a beast. He's going to clog holes and eat double teams and allow our linebackers to do what they do. So I'm excited about this defensive tackle class. I think we're going to have an excellent defensive tackle class. I actually think we're going to have an excellent D-line haul, even though Wayful decided to go to USC. If we land Carter Meadows, I mean, in the long run, I would probably choose Carter Meadows with his size and his quickness and his speed. That is really hard to teach.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see with Deuce Gerald. There's always been that little fear, like deep down in me, you know, kind of about his personality and whatnot. I've always kind of wondered if that was ever going to come into play. You know, that aspect, the NIL and stuff. And here's the truth, man. You just really never know anymore, dude.
Right.
You never know when it's going to come down for a recruit to commit. And you could think you know that they're not about money. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's like, boom, it's all about money. You know, I mean, we just watched that happen, and I would have
Yeah.
guessed, hey man, you know, not so much about money there in that recruitment, and yet, hey, the final decision was based solely on money.
Yep.
It's the only, like, it's just what it is. So anyway, we'll see what happens, man. You just have to wait and see, especially in today's recruiting world. Things are wild. Things change so frequently. And dude, I do not know what's going to happen July 1st. But any NIL deals that are decided upon before July 1st must be paid in full before July 1st if you don't want for it to go through the clearinghouse. Okay, so bro, I mean, we know what USC is paying these players. We know the money that's allotted for the profit sharing thing, and they are just fully about, hey, screw these rules, screw it. I am so desperate that I will do whatever. You know what I mean? I will, because they have to have these conversations. That means that they are sitting down with these recruits' parents and saying, look, we know this new law just got passed, or this new rule just got passed for the clearinghouse, but we're not going to follow that. We are going to sue, and we are going to win, and your son is going to get his money. Just think about that for a second, Mel. Doesn't that conversation have to be taking place, or am I tripping?
You would think so. But here's the thing. If it's not taking place, right, and you as a parent are sitting there watching this and they're about to sue, and you're looking at what the stipulations are under this new agreement, would you not be like, where's my kid's money? I need it all right now, or we're leaving? And what's stopping the parents from suing USC for not holding up their end of the bargain in their contract? So that way, because you know USC is going to want their money back because they're paying kids $20,000 to stay in the class, not taking visits, and to stay in the class. So if I'm a parent, I'm like, oh, I need all my money up front. We could you go to court with the NCAA or the clearinghouse, Deloitte, and we're going to go to court with you guys. So you can fight two battles at the same time. We'll drag it out, and we're going to decommit and go somewhere else and get a bag from them. So either way, like, if we lose, we lose and we pay you back. But if we win, we win. So I think USC is really actually just doing harm to themselves. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, we will see it. We will see how it goes. Mello, I want to do something a little interesting. I made this post on Twitter. I want to know, chat, I want you guys to do this too. I need to know your top 5 in order most desperate teams in college football right now. Right? I don't know why. I'm just curious about it. I made my list. It is Scum as number 1. I think I forget my list. And then USC is number 2. Then I got, let's see. I got Texas A&M on there. I got Oregon on there.
I got your list right here.
There's one.
You got Scum 1, USC 2, Miami 3, Texas A&M 4, Oregon 5.
Yeah. There it is. There is my list. So, Mello, what's your thoughts, dude? What's your top 5 most desperate programs in college football right now?
Right now, I'm going to go 1, USC. I'm going to go 2, Scum. 3, Miami. 4, I'm going Oregon. And then 5, I'll go Texas A&M for sure.
Yeah. Some other schools that could slide up there. Florida could slide up there. You might even slide Texas up there. We know what they're doing. We watch them in the portal. Texas Tech spent more money than any other team did in the portal. I mean, that never gets talked about.
That's a good one right there.
They spent more money than anybody else. I mean, they're one of their old offensive linemen is a pretty big oil billionaire now, and he is on the board of the school. So he is like just straight up, I mean, buying softball players, buying football players. LSU's up there too. I'm not talking desperate as in, I know Penn State's desperate, but they're not out there doing desperate things really that I know of. You don't hear about
Right.
it much. USC is. I mean, Scum is. I mean, they're trying to get their state to pass a law because this new rule has taken away any hope that they have of rebuilding their program anytime soon. It's not going to work either because their law they're trying to pass goes directly against the Big Ten contract that they signed. So this law passes, guess what? They can no longer be in the Big Ten. Bye-bye. See you later. I freaking love it. Get the heck out of here.
And think about this. The state of Tennessee put in a similar law, and the SEC told Tennessee flat out, either you're going to abide by the rules and the agreement of the revenue sharing, or you getting out of the SEC. So if Scum gets kicked out of Big, they can't even run to the SEC. And we already know the ACC and Big 12 are about to go bye-bye. So what? You guys are going to play each other every Saturday for like 16 weeks? You're going to fall off a cliff. Nobody's going to care. This is the Scum's whole logic. We're too big of a brand. People care about us too much. Well, if you don't have anybody else to play, all your fans are going to leave and pick up new teams. They're not going to sit there and watch you. It doesn't matter how big your brand is. Over the next 3 to 4 years, if you don't have anybody to play with, nobody's watching you. So your brand doesn't mean anything at that point. It already barely means something right now. And let's just be honest with everything going on. If you're an athletic department, not just your football program, your whole athletic department, the whole campus is a cesspool.
Yeah, it is. Tennessee is another team that is super up there in desperation, man. But dude, listen, I keep trying to go through and think about this because I'm a huge Ohio State fan, right?
Yeah.
We keep losing on these recruits because we won't pay them, right? That's happening.
Yep.
Some people were saying, hey, we have the money because we do. We're not paying these guys because we don't have the money. We have the money. We just won a national title. It's there. A lot of people were saying, hey, man, that's just the day and age we're living in. We're going to have to pay these recruits because it's either you pay them now or you pay them in the portal. You're going to have to pay these guys. So I just keep going back and forth of when I say, hey, yes, I don't want Ohio State to go out there and pay these guys. Am I being truthful, or am I using that as an excuse, right, to make myself feel better? And my answer is that I'm being truthful, right? I truly, truly believe, and I'll just keep reiterating myself, that if Ohio State starts doing this, that culture that they have, that brotherhood that we all love so much, will go away. It will not be the same. I mean, think about this. I just want you to picture Ohio State paying Luke Wafel $1.4 million a year. Okay. Luke comes in, steps foot on campus, immediately becomes the highest paid defensive end that we have. How do you think that's going to affect the current room that we have? Okay, let's not use Ohio State. Let's say that you have other schools that do this, and they have defensive ends that are playing that are making $1 million a year. Your starting defensive end making $1 million a year. How do you think that starting defensive end is going to feel that you're bringing in a high school senior and he makes more than you and he's not even starting? He's not even contributing his freshman year. What do you think that's going to do to the mentality, right, of your football team?
You already know. We have zero scholarship transfer portal players in the spring window for a reason. That would not be the same. You'll end up having like double-digit people leaving because they're all going to want higher money. Like, you're paying this freshman, right? He hasn't done anything. He hasn't been here. I need more money. And then the next guy, I need more money. But right now we're working on a salary cap, and Ohio State is trying to work and navigate that honestly. from an honest position that sure they'll help you get deals outside the program, which is with the companies, which is what NIL is meant for, name, image, likeness. So go get the money there, but you still have to follow a formula, and that's why we have Mark Pantoni, who's considered the best GM in all of college football, right?
Yeah. No. Also, let me ask you. Did you have something else, Melo? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, let me ask you this, right? As a parent, when you're raising your kid, do you want to just give them $100 a week to go spend freely? Or do you want to give them a list of chores they must complete before you give them that $100? Which one do you want to do?
Of course, you're trying to teach them principles. You're trying to teach them.
So
you
you want them to do the list of chores, correct?
Yeah, of course.
So why?
Because you want to teach them, give them a foundation that's going to build their character. It's going to allow them to develop a work ethic. It's going to also allow them to value currency, right? Because if you have to work and you're spending your own money and you think about, dang, I just worked, for instance, 40 hours this week to get that $100. And now it's gone because I wanted to go party with it. And it's gone in 5 minutes. Then you start thinking like, man, I gotta start taking this serious and being financial literate and financially responsible for this money. And what it does is over time, as you get older, you're less likely to be one of these ex-pro athletes that are broke. You're less likely to be an ex-pro athlete that's homeless. You're more than likely going to have more stability in your life to be able to take care of your family. So, I mean, it's more than just, all right, I want a Lambo, because we heard that last year with some wide receivers that went to Texas that we were recruiting from SFE, right? I want a Lambo. Well, you're not coming to Ohio State and getting a Lambo, bro. Or a kid that went to Oregon. I want JJ money. You're not getting JJ money. You're not JJ. JJ comes around once a generation. You're not getting the same money as him. You have to come here and prove it.
Yeah. So that lesson that you want to teach your kid, right? As a kid, right? That's going to help him or her succeed in life, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this, listen, nobody get offended. I'm just sitting here talking, right? Having a conversation. This is going to hit deep, and then it's going to travel on that line of really making people mad. So would it be fair then to say, hey, when it's coming down to players making these decisions, right, and whoever is helping the person make this decision, at one point in time, do you start to weigh, hey, here's this lesson, right, that I need my kid to learn because I know he's going to need it later in life when things aren't going glowingly. I know he's going to need this lesson, right? Or $1 million, okay? Is this lesson that I want my kid to learn and know for the rest of my life worth more or less than $1 million, right? Let me ask you, is it fair to say that that is some of the conundrums coming up in recruiting when it comes to decisions being made? Is that something that has to be tossed around a little bit when it comes down to it? Or is that getting too deep, you think? What are your thoughts? Tough question, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's ask the chat. Chat, answer this question. Answer the question that Dev just put out there. Dev is trying to dig deep right now, man.
I'm legit curious. I want to know, and I'm not judging either. It's just when you have something this big happening in a young teenager's life, and he is stuck between, hey, do I go grab this bag, or do I go fight my way up through and get what I deserve? You know what I mean? That fight mentality versus that get mentality. It's just like, how much is that worth to you? I'm seriously trying to figure this out in my mind and wonder if I'm crazy for how valuable I think the lesson is that could be learned in going and earning that money on the field. How valuable is that lesson that these players used to learn back in the day before NIL was even a thing. How valuable is that lesson that they got to come into college? They're not going to make a dime and they got to bust their butt all the way up through. Like, how long does a kid need to go through that, right? You go through it in high school a little bit, but now it's like high school and that's it. High school, that you work your butt off and boom, there's your payday right after high school. It's there, it's done. I mean, you get paid enough money where if invested and used properly, you're set up for a long freaking time. You know what I'm saying? You know, I know there's so many variables in this of, hey, what school, this, that, and why can't these guys get this from another school? They're still going to have to go there and work. But then you got to ask, well, hey, I mean, if somebody handed you $1 million right now, would you work just as hard as you work if you were broke? Would you?
No.
I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm crazy because that's
well,
what
maybe you might still work hard, but you might do it in a different way. That might give you a bigger platform or a bigger springboard to do something if you already had an idea. But it really comes down to the individual, right? What are you motivated by? What drives you? What are your goals in life? If it's just, I want $1 million and then I'll just invest it and keep flipping it and then just chill, then yeah, you're going to have that type of individual. But there's some individuals like, well, I'm going to take that $1 million. I'm going to take like half of it. I'm going to start this business, or I'm going to throw it into my company that I have here. And then I'm going to grind the same hours, but now I have a head start, right? So it really just comes on the individual and how you're raised, to be honest with you. What is your background? What is your family's background? What do they believe in? It comes down to this. The thing about Wayful that kind of throws me off is the Hunt School doesn't usually give out scholarships, and that's an expensive school. I used to play them in high school. So it's not like, I don't want to speak on his parents. I'm not pocket watching, but he probably didn't grow up poor, right? More than likely. He probably came from a little bit of money. So it's interesting to see that thought process, because a lot of kids that choose the money normally are coming from situations where their family's hurting and they want the money to help get their family out of that situation, which could be understandable. But maybe the Wayfuls are like, yeah, well, we could flip this money, or if he owns a business or whatever, the same factor, right? And I also think, like, I want to see, my biggest thing is I want to see like all these schools that are doing this and are spending well above the 20.5 mil that's coming down. How is their class going to end on signing day? Early signing day. I want to see if all those kids that they already have in the class are going to end up in the class. Because I believe Funky was saying something like Albert Hill was getting $1 million in NIL for a year. That's a lot of money for Nickelback, bro. I'm sorry. Like, because if he came to Ohio State, that's probably where he would be playing. He'd be playing slot corner. So, like, that's just my opinion. Like, if you could get it as a kid and that's what you want to do, get it. Go do it. Do your thing, more power to you. But I like the type of kids that are at Ohio State. They're goal-oriented, they're focused, and you can see by just discussing with their parents that they were raised properly, and these kids are thinking the long game. They're getting taken care of while they're at Ohio State. You better believe that. And if you're producing, you're going to get extra taken care of off the field. But now when you go to the NFL, you're more likely probably going to make it to your second contract, which is the biggest. And now you're talking about generational wealth. So at the end of the day, it's really on the individual, how you're raised, how your family is, and the thought process. I don't judge either way. But as an Ohio State fan, of course, I want the best kids in our class, obviously.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, it, just like anything else in this country and in this life, you got the freedom to make that decision, whatever decision you want to make, right? And like you said, depending on how you were raised, depending on the type of person you are and all that. Yeah, I'm not saying that we keep talking about Luke Wayful, so let's continue it. I'm not saying he can't go to USC and absolutely kill it, become a first-round draft pick, the whole 9 years. I hope he does. That's what I want that kid to do. I want him to go there and absolutely dominate, like I really do, but not when he plays Ohio State. I don't want that to happen. I want him to not even play. But, so it just depends, man. It just I try to separate my Ohio State fandom out of my thoughts of, okay, how do I feel about, right, this person picking this school over this school? I really try to separate that and break that down and get to the roots of, okay, why do I have a problem with this? If I take my fandom out of it, why would I not agree with this? And the truth is, doesn't make a lick of difference what I think. You know what I'm saying? Not my life, not my decision, not my business, quite frankly. I mean, it's kind of wild that all these recruits, their family and their business is just way out in the open like this for us to come on a YouTube channel and talk about. It's kind of wild, but it is, and it's what people talk about. But, you know, long story short, I like what Ohio State is doing. I like their strategy. I like that they didn't go out and match that number or beat that number or whatever. I'm cool with it. I like it. I like the trajectory of our program. We have the number 2 recruiting class in the nation. We got all these guys coming in for this official visits. We're in on a lot more players. I mean, there are some dogs coming to Ohio State still. There are some dogs making that decision that they want to grind this thing out. They want to prove it on the field. They want to be the Jeremiah Smiths, the Caleb Downs of putting your head down and grinding it out. You know what I mean? Name me 2 other college football players that have done it the way they have done it. That's why they are the 2 most talked about college athletes, minus probably the quarterback over there at Texas. And we wonder why that is. If his family wasn't his family, would he still be being talked about like that? No, he'd be Julian Saying. That's just what it is.
He might not even be that. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it might not even be that. But we got to wrap this thing up, man. Big time show right on after us at Scoop. But let me tell you this. The big time show is tomorrow, Pop's Pod.
Yep.
We will be doing a show that has never been done and in the college football realm, and I am pumped to sit back and listen tomorrow. There's going to be about 7 moms from 7 different schools across the nation, including a Team Up North mom with a player, a star player that is currently with that team. So
that's going to be interesting.
Hey, chat. No, there's no being disrespectful or mean to parents of Team Up North parents while they are on our show. You will be excommunicated from the chat immediately. Mello, any closing thoughts, final statements?
Yes, man. The block goal is bigger than any one individual. The block goal has been elite from day one to now. This is the best college football program on planet Earth, and don't forget that. And that goes for Tyler Atkinson as well. Like, you can't ask for insane stuff. I'm not going to put out what he asked for, but just know it was absolutely ridiculous, and no player is going to get that from Ohio State. So if you're thinking you're going to be able to come here and ask Ohio State some outlandish thing like that, like, go ahead, just don't even waste your time. Don't waste everybody's time. Just be like, hey, I'm going to go and look somewhere else. You're not getting that over here. So that is what it is. We're going to have a great class. We're going to have a great season. And I predict we're going to have 2 freshman All-Americans this year, by the way. So
I love it. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Like I said, stay right here on this channel. If you're watching on the Scoop channel, if you are watching on the Scoop channel and you want to see more of me and Mello's content, go over to the Buckeye Boys with a Z YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We do interviews all the time. We got Brady Edmonds coming on the show next week. We had a lot more shows scheduled this week. It didn't work out. They're just getting pushed back. We're going to get them on the show. So stay tuned for that. But you want some intel on what we think the punishment for that Team Up North is going to be. Premier Drum from the 11 Warriors site. He's been one of the leading people on this, as well as Scoop, and Justin Spiro is joining the show. So I highly recommend going over there and checking it out. But on that note, we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.
I-O. And shout out Bread.
Yeah, baby. Hey, Tim Kelly.